Spain has blocked the United States from using its airspace and airports. Italy has done the same. Poland has done the same. UK has largely done the same. France has blocked the United States from using its airspace and its air bases. Austria has done the same. Switzerland has done the same. And now we learn that Saudi Arabia banned Donald Trump, banned the United States from using the air base in Riyadh and any other air base in Saudi Arabia, and banned the U.S. from using the airspace above Saudi Arabia after Donald Trump announced Project Freedom on Sunday. And then 24 hours later, Donald Trump said he was withdrawing from Project Freedom because it was so utterly successful. But we learned the real reason that Donald Trump stopped this Project Freedom, which was an absolute failure, was because Saudi Arabia said they would be banning Donald Trump from using Saudi airspace and Saudi air bases. But it wasn't just Saudi Arabia. It was also Kuwait. We're learning that Kuwait said, you can't use our air bases. We're done. No more use of our airspace. And then this was a domino effect. All of the Middle East countries that Donald Trump had done these quid pro quo deals with, whether it was Qatar and Bahrain and even UAE, they all were basically saying, Donald, we're going to ban you as well. I mean, UAE still kind of stayed in it, but guess what happened when they stayed in it? Iran attacked the Fujairah port, which is used by the UAE to try to circumvent the Hormuz control that Iran has. Also, you had a UAE tanker that was struck by Iran after Donald Trump announced Project Freedom, as well as a South Korean tanker. And in addition to all of these countries banning Donald Trump and banning the United States now from using the air bases and airspace in the countries, NATO is basically preparing for a post-U.S. life, whether they're calling it new NATO or Europe NATO, but a NATO if Donald Trump does indeed withdraw from NATO. And one of the things that NATO is also doing right now is they're no longer having meetings until the end of Donald Trump's term. They may have to do one or two in term. They're doing meetings with the military people, and lower level people. But when it comes to like high level leaders of countries, NATO's done doing that. They're not doing it anymore because they don't want the drama with Donald Trump. They don't want him showing up. And they just said it's, just keep Donald Trump away from NATO. That's the best thing that could possibly be done. And Donald Trump and his regime, Hegseth, Rubio, others continue to attack NATO each and every day. I mean, this news that Saudi Arabia and Kuwait were blocking Donald Trump and the United States from using the air bases and the air space, was really a bombshell news that dropped late last night. A lot of people were saying, okay, so Donald Trump announced this Project Freedom, and he said that he was going to bring the American Navy into the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, we've heard this from him before, and then help all of the tankers and cargo ships as part of a humanitarian mission leave the Strait of Hormuz. And then there was that bizarre press conference with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Kane, as well as Pete Hegseth, and they were like lying, and they were like, hundreds of ships are now currently exiting the Strait of Hormuz. We are currently leading them through a safe passage. And it's like, yeah, that's not happening. 2 ships were destroyed by Iran that even tried. When the U.S. Navy tried to get in there, Iran shot warning shots, and then the 2 Navy ships turned around. We have satellite images, folks. We know whether or not the U.S. Navy successfully leading hundreds of ships. No, it's like 1 ship left the Strait of Hormuz, and that was through the Iranian passage. It was allied with Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz is firmly under Iran's control. But then we learned, NBC got the exclusive yesterday, hat tip to them, that MBS, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, was livid when Donald Trump announced this Project Freedom, which was an escalatory measure. MBS and the head of Kuwait, and all of the royal families in the Middle East said, look, this is an escalatory measure, or at best it creates escalatory ambiguity. Iran's going to escalate. Like, you're going to provoke them. And it's exactly what Iran did. And these Middle East countries are reeling right now. I mean, they are really suffering. Donald Trump and the United States promised them a security umbrella. They did all of these quid pro quo deals with Donald Trump, not because they like Donald Trump, but because that's how Donald Trump projected the security umbrella of the U.S. You need to pay me personally tribute. Qatar, you got to give me a 747 jet. Saudi Arabia, you got to do hotel deals with me. UAE, Dubai, you've got to do deals with me. You got to put money into my World Liberty financial crypto thing. And so he would go around, and they thought that they were getting protection. And when push came to shove, not only did they not get protection, Donald Trump didn't warn them in late February when he and Netanyahu went it alone and had this unlawful and catastrophic war criminal invasion of Iran and started blowing up elementary schools, killing little girls, and lighting the entire Middle East on fire. And these Middle East countries were like, hello, you're not going to even give us a heads up, yet alone we should coordinate this together. And of course, Donald Trump didn't tell NATO. He didn't tell anyone other than Netanyahu. And then the United States officially put it in their State Department position paper. They said this is a legally justified war because this is word for word, basically what it says. Iran's been at war with Israel, an ally of the United States, for 47 years. And thus the U.S. to protect Israel doesn't need any further justification to go to war with Iran. I mean, that's literally the State Department's position. And so it finally seemed, okay, are we moving closer to resolution? Are we moving closer to potentially a deal? Then Donald Trump on Sunday fires off this Project Freedom thing and talks about bringing Navy ships and escorting ships out of the Persian Gulf and out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then people in the military had to, military leaders, generals, admirals had to walk it back a little bit and say, no, this isn't a new operation that we're launching. This is actually part of something we announced last week. It's defensive in nature. It's a humanitarian. We're not actually going into the Strait of Hormuz. We're just going to help insurance companies, and we're going to help ships there learn the latest updates when the Strait of Hormuz opens. But then Donald Trump and Hegseth were like, nope. This is a new mission. We're going in. And no one knew what the hell was going on. Iran attacked the port of Fujairah, attacked the two ships, the South Korean ship and the UAE ship. And then things were escalating. And Saudi Arabia's like, boom, we're shutting down our airspace. Kuwait's like, boom, we're shutting down our airspace. And as I mentioned before, they joined Spain and Italy and Poland and UK and France and Austria and Switzerland.
Let me tell you, if there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after drinks with friends, it's with pre-alcohol. Look, I'm not 21 anymore. If I have a night out, I still want to be productive the next morning, and that's why I started using this. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I was honestly skeptical at first, but I tried it before going out to dinner with friends, and the next morning, I was getting up early, but I was feeling good, getting work done, no problem. Now, it's just part of the routine anytime I know that drinks are involved. From the crack of the bat at the stadium to the start of wedding season and the roar of the engines in Indy, May is packed with back-to-back reasons to be out. Don't let a rough morning after keep you on the sidelines. Drink pre-alcohol to stay ahead of it and make the most of every Saturday this month. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use code Meidas at checkout for 15% off. That's MEIDAS.
And what's Donald Trump's reaction to all of this? I mean, Donald Trump's go-to move is to say, you know what? Who's not on that list? Germany. Let's attack Germany. we're going to take 5,000 of our troops out of the German base. So all of these countries are shutting down their air bases and airspace to you. And the one country that's, critical of what you're doing because you're hurting their economy, but still letting you use the air base, Germany, you go, I'm going to attack that country. Yeah, brilliant idea, Donald. So Donald's like, I'm taking at least 5,000 troops, and that's just the beginning. We're taking more troops out of the German air base. Brilliant move. Usually the way alliances work is you want to fortify them. Addition, not subtraction, is usually a better move. Today, German's Chancellor Friedrich Merz said the following: "We are witnessing a profound historic rupture," Germany's leader says, "the kind every generation experiences once in a lifetime. We, the people born after the Second World War, were simply lucky until now. But now, 80 years after the end of the Second World War, we are experiencing what every generation in the centuries before us also experienced. It took 80 years, but now this historic rupture has arrived. So we are rearming in the truest sense of the word. We are strengthening ourselves." What Germany's doing. What's France doing? Well, the French aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, crossed the Suez Canal and moved into the Red Sea yesterday in a preparatory phase for a potential Franco-British mission to protect navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. Paris emphasized that the operation will have a defensive character and will be distinct from the U.S. initiative Project Freedom, which is now donezo. The mission will depend on the reduction of regional tensions and the agreement of the countries in the region. And while Donald Trump can't negotiate for the life of him, French President Emmanuel Macron, who's basically leading this part of the effort on behalf of European countries, he said yesterday that he discussed the Hormuz situation with Iran's President Pezeshkian. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Wednesday that he held further talks with Iran President Masoud Pezeshkian, during which Macron had reaffirmed the importance of freeing up the shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz. Macron added he had encouraged Iran's president to look at the plans by France and Britain to set up an international mission to lay the groundwork for safe transit through Hormuz. In other words, Donald Trump's just going to keep on manipulating the markets. He'll keep doing what he's doing with Axios and Barack Ravid, where he goes, "Oh, we did a memorandum of understanding with Iran. We're so close to getting a deal. Iran told us that we're moving closer." And then the markets go up, and then the oil markets drop, and then it turns out Trump's lying, and then the opposite happens. I call that the 2-week Donald Trump bankruptcy death spiral, because he does that his entire life. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks for a healthcare plan, 2 weeks for this, 2 weeks for that, 2 weeks for that. And he relies on the fact that people get very busy in life and they get distracted, and there's a lot of things that happen. They often get distracted by his distractions, right? Trump's a WMD, damn it. He's a weapon of mass distraction. So he'll go 2 weeks, then try to distract you with this, that, and the other thing, and just try to put a fire hose of lies and insanity so you forget about the 2-week time frame. Then when the 2 weeks arrives, he goes another 2 weeks, then it's a month, then it's 2 weeks, then it's a day, then it's 3 days, and it's 2 weeks. That's the Trump debt cycle, and it ultimately leads to bankruptcy, right? By mid-July, we're out of oil. Like by mid-July, we run out, okay? Like there's going to be a crisis moment, and I know people don't want to talk about it, but there's a moment where we run out. The world runs out of oil because the Strait of Hormuz is effectively shut down and closed. And, and that's where we're headed. So France, the UK, and other European countries, they're trying to negotiate directly with Iran and said, look, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Let's figure something out, please, here. And we'll recognize and respect Iran's sovereignty. We'll give you guarantees. What can we do together, basically? And Iran knows they're in a more powerful position. I mean, they showed up like conquering heroes to China before Donald Trump is set to arrive in China. So Trump's heading to China soon, but Iran's foreign minister Araghchi headed to China first. And Iran's foreign minister said the following when he was in China meeting with his counterpart Wang Yi. Here's what Araghchi said. Our Chinese friends believe that Iran after the war is different from Iran before the war. Its international position has improved, Iran has, and it has proven its capabilities and power. Therefore, a new era of cooperation between Iran and other countries lies ahead. For Iran, it's addition. We projected strength. We beat the U.S. in the war. objectively, because the U.S. said regime change, getting rid of the nuclear weapons, getting rid of the conventional shield that hides the nuclear weapons, Iran's ballistic missiles and Shahed drones. U.S. said they would get rid of all of Iran's proxies. Those things didn't happen. So the U.S. objectives didn't happen, and Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. Like if you're playing soccer or football, scoring 1-0, the person who gets nothing is not the winner. The person who gets the 1 is the winner. A little FIFA reference for you, Donald Trump, as the rest of the world is boycotting FIFA and FIFA ticket sales are down significantly because people don't want to go to the United States. You perverted and turned the FIFA into this disgusting, weird thing with fake peace prizes, and you and Gianni Infantino, you turned this whole FIFA thing into some gross, weird shtick. People just want to have fun, man. They want to go with their families to games. They want to live their lives, not live in your freaking chaotic, idiotic, demonic world, damn it. And here's what Wang Yi, the foreign minister of China, had to say. The war of the United States and Israel against Iran is illegitimate. Establishing a complete ceasefire is an essential matter, to which Araghchi responded, China is Iran's close friend. Under current conditions, cooperation between the two countries will be stronger than in the past. We appreciate China's firm stance, and especially this country's condemnation of the U.S., right? So with all of that, what's Donald Trump doing? Hey, Xi Jinping, I'm Donald Trump. Oh, so great to see you. Are we friends? No, you're not friends, man. Are you listening to what the Iranian foreign minister is saying? What are we even doing here? Meanwhile, you have Russia's foreign minister calling Marco Rubio, hey, Marco, it's Lavrov. And you know what happened right after their call, where we learned about the call from Russia media's readout? Not from the U.S. Once again, just like Putin's call with Donald Trump last week or 2 weeks ago, this one wasn't reported by the U.S. regime. Russia reported it. We're talking about further alliance between the U.S. and Russia, further cooperation, talking about how Russia has declared a unilateral ceasefire, or what it calls Victory Day, on May 9th. Okay, to which Zelensky's like, okay, you're unilaterally calling a ceasefire on May 9th and you're telling the U.S., we're the other side. Okay, so if you're going to do a unilateral ceasefire on May 9th, then we're going to do a unilateral ceasefire on May 5th, to which Russia said, no. And then Russia started launching extra attacks on Ukraine. And as soon as that call between Rubio and Lavrov ended, lots of people were killed in Zaporizhia, in Kramatorsk, in Dnipro, in Poltava, in the Kherson region. Russia launched a massive ballistic missile strike. Finally, I do want to point out, as Donald Trump alienates, isolates these Middle East countries and all of our allies, I mean, Zelensky's trying to grow coalitions, right? Prime Minister Carney of Canada trying to grow coalitions. That's the way you're supposed to do it. So Prime Minister Carney was in Yerevan, Armenia for the European Political Community Summit that took place there. What a place to have it. Yerevan, Armenia, which used to kind of be viewed as like a Soviet satellite, and to have it there, turning into a direction of Europe. I mean, incredible, right? So you had that taking place. You had Zelensky giving a powerful speech there, transatlantic Canada with Europe, bringing them together. Zelensky's there. It's happening in Yerevan, Armenia, right? You have that building. Zelensky forming bonds and alliances with Saudi Arabia and with UAE and with Kuwait and Bahrain, because Ukraine has the top anti-drone interceptors. Ukraine has all the top, drone technology. They're leading the world in technology and fighting war in 2026. So Ukraine's building alliances. Zelensky's traveled to those countries, and Trump's just tearing it down and attacking everybody. And, America first is America alone. And now he's been blocked and banned from all of these military bases. And that's why Donald Trump shut down Project Freedom. America's so alone right now and so damn isolated because of this moron. Well, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.